Ignition sequence start. Roger.
Hello, I'm Manus MacLean, and this is Brain Drain Newsroom. Today is Monday, August 25th, 2025. Tonight we bring you 5 major immigration developments. 1. A wrongly deported migrant has been re-detained under looming threats of removal. 2. Continuous vetting of 55 million visa holders. Surveillance is now constant. 3. USCIS expanded good moral character criteria. 4. A visa bond pilot is demanding up to $15,000 from visitors from Malawi and Zambia. And 5th, an executive order criminalizing flag desecration with immigration consequences. We'll unpack each in detail to clarify how these affect real lives amid shifting policies. We'll start with a stark case. Kilmar Abrego, a migrant previously wrongfully deported to El Salvador despite a court injunction, has been detained again in Baltimore by ICE. Following a scheduled check-in, he now faces deportation, this time to Uganda. Yes, Uganda in Africa, a country which he has no ties to, or Costa Rica through an alleged plea offer. His attorneys argue this is coercive and politically motivated, and they're fighting it in federal court. Advocates warn that this case reflects the dangers of enforcement overreach and highlights systemic flaws in due process. Next, the State Department's continuous vetting program is now active for all 55 million visa holders in the U.S., both domestic and abroad. Anyone with a valid visa can be reviewed at any time for overstays, criminal activity, terrorism links, or even social media posts, if they are considered to be anti-American in sentiment. Civil liberties groups warn that this mass surveillance, visa holders say it calls for persistent uncertainty about their status. Immigration officials defend it as necessary for national security, but the balance of civil rights and oversight remains hotly debated. USCIS has updated its citizenship policy. The good moral character standard now includes a holistic review covering community engagement, societal contributions, and cultural alignment, beyond simply avoiding wrongdoing, breaking the law. Officials say this ensures new citizens embrace civil values, but critics argue it adds subjective criteria that could feed inconsistencies and bias. There's a visa bond pilot specifically for Malawi and Zambia. Anybody who's applying for a visitor visa, the B1, B2 visas, must post a $5,000 to $15,000 bond, which is refundable upon compliance. Default bonds are about $10,000. Terms also limit visits to 30 days, single entry, and specific ports of entry. Detractors say this effectively blocks travel for low-income applicants and may heighten inequity. The State Department argues it helps mitigate overstay risk. Finally, President Trump signed an executive order mandating prosecuting for flag desecration, such as burning, and penalties include up to 1 year in jail. The order also calls for termination of visas, residence permits, or naturalization proceedings for violators. Critics decry it as a crackdown on free expression, while supporters frame it as patriotic enforcement. What it means. These updates show a broad shift. Immigration now blends persistent monitoring and moral standards enforcement with penalties tied to expression. Let's consider the implications. Current and aspiring immigrants' status is more conditional than any behavior or opinion can affect eligibility. I'll remind you of the case where an individual was denied entry because he had a phone that was unflattering to J.D. Vance. He had a picture on his phone. Free speech climate. Policies now effectively penalize speech, legal or symbolic, and open to inconsistent interpretations. Human rights and equity. Visa bonds and surveillance disproportionately affect the poor, international students, and minority communities. Legal pushback. We can expect intensified litigation and advocacy, especially around due process, First Amendment protections, and equitable policy implementation. These are consequential developments at the intersection of immigration, civil liberties, and national policy. At Brain Drain, we are committed to providing clarity and context when policies evolve and when lives are on the line. If you value accurate, timely insights, please subscribe and share this update. And if you believe immigrants deserve a strong advocacy and fair representation, please consider supporting Brain Drain at braindrain.org/donate. I'm Manus MacLean. Thank you for watching. Stay informed. Stay empowered.
Thanks for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed this and maybe even learned something new. If you did, don't just vanish into the algorithm. Hit like, subscribe, and follow us on social. It's the easiest way to support our work and make sure you never miss what's next. Want to stay in the loop without relying on big tech's mood swings? Sign up for our monthly newsletter. And if you've got the means, donations of any size keep our programs running strong. As a 501c3, your gift is tax deductible where the law allows. Together, we can turn Brain Drain into America's next big breakthrough.